Hey folks, welcome to our lesson today. We've got a nice quiz. I've got 10 questions, all related to the topic friendship. So we have some things where we test a little bit of vocab, where we learn some different trivia, some new facts, some things we can learn and think are cool, and then probably forget 5 minutes later. Anyway, I'm here today, like I am once a week for our quiz and once a week as well for our lesson of the week. And today we happen to have our quiz on Friday. It's usually actually on Wednesdays. No, Tuesdays. And the lesson is on Wednesday. Yeah, so I'm Jen, English with Jen. You can find me here. And I try to offer you the chance to practice your English at least twice a week here on YouTube, where you can join our community. You can comment in the comments section. Go figure. Great place to do that. And yeah, welcome to everyone who's here. And let's get this party started. I'll get rid of that and see who's here so far. Hey, Omar, welcome, dear. So I'm going to pull up our first question of the day. And let's see. Let me get rid of that banner I thought that I had. Nope, there it's gone. Gone, done, finished. So let me pull up our banner, or our first question, sorry, for today. Plop me over to here. And let's see. So I need the friendship quiz. Let me open that guy up. And here is our first question. So let's see what we've got. And more comments coming in. Hello, Karina, sweetie. Hey, Lorena, darling. All right, so we've got friendship today. And yeah, I sometimes, like as a teacher, you go into a lesson and you're in the worst, most horrible mood, and then you leave and you're in a good mood. I'm really hoping that will happen today. I have all of this bureaucratic stuff I have to do, American taxes. I have to renew my my visa to be able to stay in Germany because I'm a foreigner, and it's not easy. It's such a nightmare. Dan, you're actually Kaluna, right? I think I figured that out. I saw in my stories that Dan with capital D-A-N liked one of my stories, and then I looked onto it and it was Kaluna. So I think that, Dan, you are what I know on Instagram as Kaluna. Is that, or who I know, actually, not what. Yeah, so anyway, please clarify that. And I'm in a really bad mood. I signed up today for an appointment to get stuff changed and to get some documents done. And I signed up at the wrong office. It cost me $50 to get out there because it was lazy and took a taxi. I was like, "Urgh!" So it was such a bad mood. But we have a great lesson. Please don't leave me. Let's hang out together and brighten each other's day. Me too. I need to renew my passport nearly. Yes. So, and I actually have to, mine has expired. My permission to be here in Germany has expired. I don't know what that does. I don't know if I'm illegal. I don't know what, but it's been since February. I had no idea. And the last time we traveled, they said, this expired in February. And I was like, anyway. So Omar, do it now before it expires. It's much more of a nightmare to do things before they expire than after. My live and learn from me. All right, we have our first question. Okay. And so if you bond over, and I use this because this was one of these expressions that since Tuesday in our live stream has been kind of a thing where people are like, huh, bond over. So let's just do it once and for all. If you bond over music, what does that mean? Does it mean A, you play music together, B, you share a love for music and become close, or C, you argue about music? So what does that mean? Yeah. Kaluna. Okay, good. So do you prefer Dan or do you prefer Kaluna? I'm curious. So I put two and two together finally, and I was like, that's my Kaluna. I don't know. Sometimes it takes me a long time to figure these things out. So let's see. So, okay, Omar saying B, Karina saying B. What can you tell me? B as well from Dan Kaluna. Okay, yes. So of course the answer is B. If you attended my lessons this week, then you definitely know, Lorena, this answer, right? You can bond over something. And so I thought, just as a nice little exercise to once and for all learn this thing. Hello to you, Dana. Yeah, so for once and for all to learn this idiom here, or to this phrasal verb, is let's think about things. Think about your partner, or think about a friend. Let's think of a friend or a partner. I'm gonna take my partner because he is also my friend. And so Dana, the answer was B, to share a love of music. When you bond over something, you can bond over music, you can bond over classic films, over food. Hey, Carmen, sweetie, cool, you could make it today. Awesome. So think of some things that you bond over. Like for me, I would never bond over Formula One or soccer because I don't know anything about it. That's not something I could connect with anyone about. So I'm trying to think of things that I bonded over with Peter when I first met, and that was, we bonded over traveling, a love for traveling. Street art, we both really love street art. And I'm trying to look at things, and like just like weird things. Like we both have this eye for weird. Anything that's weird and unusual, then we kind of are like, yeah, it's cool. So took the early shift. Oh, to be able to watch. Oh, sweetie, cool. Oh, very, very cool. Okay, well then I'll have to get into a better mood. I just said today I've been dealing with the German authorities because my Aufenthaltstitel expired, and so that's a bit of a drama. And I went to the wrong one. I went to the Anmeldewohneramt instead of the Ausländeramt. So I went to anyway, nobody cares. Let's move on. So tell me some things. What do you bond over? What are some things that you love? And when you meet someone and you're able to talk about these things, what do you bond over? Let's try to use this phrasal verb so that it sticks really nicely, and then move on. I probably will not bring it up again because I've brought it up 3 times now this week. So yeah. So bond over movies, bond over films, bond over so many different things, so many specific things. Peter and I, we bond over 3-legged dogs. So if we're out somewhere and either of us sees a 3-legged dog, we have to get video of it, because we always say that if we were to ever have a dog, it would have 3 legs. So yeah, we'll never have a dog. We travel too much, but we both kind of love the tripods. And so that's something that we bond over, weird things. Doesn't seem that anybody wants to share. No sweat, no problem. Let's move on to the next point. And if you want to share this, if you're watching the replay, please feel free to answer any of these questions. If you do answer the questions, then please let me know what the question is. Sometimes people answer the questions with like, 1 is C. And I'm like, or no, they don't say 1 is C. They'll just say like C. Wait, what do you mean? Which question? So trends, okay, cool. Bond over fashion, makeup, and trends with friends for sure. Yeah, okay, cool. So super use of that, Karina. Thank you very much. All right, moving on to number 2. And let's see where we're headed for something that is not a type of friendship. Another little vocab test here to see how much you learned this week. And yeah, here we go. Doop. So which of these is not a type of friendship? Is it A, acquaintance, B, a confidant, or C, a supervisor? And I will repeat these words because they're all sort of interesting on their own. We've talked about them already, but let's do it again. For those of you who are watching who didn't see my live stream from 2 days ago, from Wednesday, then we talk about these words a lot, or not a lot, but we did. And so feel free. I will tag this the live stream that belongs to this lesson here, so that if you want to have a full 1-hour English lesson, you're more than welcome to check it out and let me know what you think. So acquaintance. acquaintance. And again, the pronunciation for B is confidant, not confident. Confidant. And C, supervisor. Everybody's saying C, supervisor. Absolutely, you are correct, supervisor. Exactly. Okay, so good. That one is sticking. Acquaintance is someone who we just meet. We don't use that word a lot in American English, probably more in British English, because they are a lot more reserved. Americans tend to love and hate everything. Everyone's a friend. Everyone's doing amazing. Me not today. But yeah, so there's a lot of kind of cultural mentality that goes into that, where we call everyone a friend, but not really everyone is your friend. If you go to dinner with them once, is that your friend? You know, so the people you would call in the middle of the night, that's kind of my definition, I think, of a friend. All right, so here we have another one. And I can't remember if we had this week in our lesson or not. We're moving into this is one of our last little vocab things. We will move into some more trivia in the next question. But what does the idiom bury the hatchet mean? I don't think we had this. Maybe we did. I don't know. Yeah, we did. Because I talked about, I had no idea what a hatchet really was, but it's like this little sort of axe kind of thing. So it's a hatchet, a small axe is a hatchet. And bury, I wanted to point out again, the pronunciation of this word. It's very deceptive. So it looks like bury, but it's actually, the spelling sounds like a strawberry, a blueberry, a raspberry. So it has a berry sound, sounds like berry, but even though the spelling doesn't give that away. So it's A, start a fight, B, forgive someone and move on, or C, hide a problem. So we've got lots of B's, all right? So B, 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 B. All right, okay, sure. So let's see. To bury the hatchet is to forgive someone and to move on. And I find actually this idiom very strange. To bury, so you stick it underground. It just makes, like, how on earth did that come about? It sounds so weird. Oh, you changed your name to Kaluna. Okay, that makes it easier. Oh, sweet. That's precious. Okay, so let's see. Moving on. Actually, I'm going to see really quickly if the bot can give me an easy answer, because I find bury the hatchet very strange. Like bury the hatchet, because sometimes these have cool sort of meanings behind them. They're not just random. So bury the hatchet. Where does it come from? I guess I could have just said origins, but okay. Ooh, okay, this is kind of cool. Okay, so bury the hatchet comes from a Native American practice. So heading to the United States, Native Americans, this is something they do specifically among tribes such as the Iroquois and the, I'm going to kill this, Algonquian peoples. Don't know. It refers to the literal act of burying weapons. Hey, Serena, sweetie. Yeah, I think that's really cool. So bury the hatchet. Native Americans fighting tribes. I guess when peace was made, they would bury their weapons underground. I'm glad I looked that up. That's so cool. So one of the earliest known uses is in 1670. From a speech from a Native American referencing burying the hatchet. I love that. Okay, very cool. It's very nice to bury the weapons, get them out of sight. We have peace now. We don't need them. So the meaning is making peace. Exactly. You forgive someone, you move on, you make peace. Exactly, Lorena. Would have guessed this. Really? Okay, I had no idea. Okay, so let's see. Moving on to number 4, another sort of trivia question that I'm kind of curious to see how you feel about this. And let's move on to our 4th slide. I have to get away from my big magnifying glass. The secret's out. But I cannot tell you, I've had several people write me about my big magnifying glass, like, where did you get that? So maybe I should sell them on YouTube. So it means, yeah, okay. All right. So let's see. How long does it take to build a close friendship online? All right. So according to one study, 50 hours for for casual friends, 90 hours to become friends, C, over 200 hours to become close, D, all of the above. What do you think? And and maybe you can even answer for yourself, because I know a lot of you are actually friends outside of our lessons, that you check in on each other and you write each other, perhaps share recipes. Hey, Renee, dear. So Renee, you're going with D. Does it? So okay, Carmen's going with D as well. And yeah, let's get one more answer maybe, and then I will let you know what, according to the study. I always love these types of terms. I'm sure you have it in your language too. According to experts, scientists say, according to a study. So it's like very vague, it's not really concrete. So it makes it sort of like you can't be blamed if it's wrong. So C, to become close friends. Okay, so according to the study, it's actually D, all of the above. So 50 hours for casual friends, 90 to become friends, to say, you know what, we're a friend, and 200 to become close friends. I wonder how many hours we've all spent together. I mean, it's definitely, I would think 90, at least 90, at least. I think. I don't know. Alicia's been around forever. Carmen's been around forever. Yuki too. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, but for you with online friends, kind of curious. I have a couple of questions, follow-up questions. How long does it take for you to become friends with someone online? I'm always surprised. My daughter will say, "Oh, this is my friend," and I'm like, "Where did you meet her?" And she's like, "Instagram," and I'm like, what? It's so, I think in our situation where we meet regularly for hours, like I meet more with you than I do my kids. I meet more with you than I do any friend I have. So I think in this situation, to become friends is kind of more natural. But she just likes some girl's picture, and they're like, oh, she has cool style and she's just got good energy, and becomes friends with them. I don't know if I could ever do that. I think I'm too old, but I think people do. I mean, they must. So how long would it take for you to become friends? And what are some things that you look for on an online friendship? Like, what are some things that kind of like are like, I want to be friends with that person, or something like that? And how are they different to in-person friendships? How old is she? She's 20, nearly 21. So my son, I don't think he's ever done that. He's 24, but for her and her circle of friends and in her generation, that seems to be pretty normal, that you just are like, oh, you seem cool, let's be friends. And then she actually meets these people and they become friends. So yeah, it depends, in my opinion. Okay, yes. I think for me, online friends, it needs to be someone who doesn't expect for me to write them back immediately. Like I don't write anybody back immediately, because I just am so busy. And so some people, they have different levels of like, where are you? You need to write me back. And I'm like, I can't. I'm a one-woman show here. So for me, definitely somebody who's like, kumbaya, write me when you can, no big deal. And same with me, that's important to me. A person that is deep, especially in a conversation, it's a bit dangerous. I think so too. Totally. Carmen, honestly, the first time she's told me that she's been doing this for probably, she's been talking about doing this for probably 6 years, 5 years, 6 years. And I was totally freaked out. Mine was exactly my reaction. You're like, how do you know these are not people who were catfishing you? How do you know that? Yeah, I don't know. But I guess if you have a lot of mutual friends, they kind of know the person too. You see your friends commenting. I guess you can do a little detective work to see what the crazy factor is, maybe. We need to distinguish acquaintance to a real friendship. Yes. But Lorena, I would argue that you can have real friendships with online friends. I think so. Just because you don't see them or don't get to meet them, I still think you can have, for me personally. Yeah. Confusing. Yeah, I think it's so. Hold on. Catfishing is scary. My thing is not working so well today, my magnifying glass. All right, let's move on. And I have a new vocabulary word that we have not done this week. And so I'm going to see, this is a real buzzword. It's kind of a cool word these days. I would say that it's been in the English language, I'm going to say for like 10 years, 15 years, something like that. So relatively new. So let's see how cool all of you are. And let's go with our next word. No, not online. Okay. So here we go. What does frenemy mean? This is going to give you cool credit here. So a friend who stays loyal when it benefits them. A person who is sometimes a friend and sometimes a rival. So a rival is somebody who's kind of like competing against you. And or C, a close childhood friend. So what can you tell me? Which of these match? Okay, Kalina dear is going with B. All right. Any other guesses here? What's a frenemy? A frenemy. I think it sounds very funny. Frenemy. So frenemy. It is Carmen. Okay. Maybe B. Okay. Serena's kind of feeling like B is vibing somehow. Okay. One more guess, and then we will go for it with the answer. Lorena B too. Okay. So for those of you, which is all of you, who said B, you get cool credit and with whoever. But it is a person who is sometimes a friend and sometimes actually an enemy. And these are these words where we take them and then we put them together. So friend and enemy, a frenemy. Frenemy. And half friend, half enemy. Exactly. Hey, Demethu, welcome, dear. So yeah, exactly. So a frenemy. And I wanted to point out that letter A, a friend who's only stays loyal to you when it benefits them or in good times. We have a nice little idiomatic phrase for that. Maybe you can think of that, of what that is. And we can add that. We have a nice term for that. I'll go ahead and write it and see. A friend, so for A, we have an expression for that. And I don't think that we talked about that this week. Have I spelled that right? Nope. I can't delete. I can't reach underneath the magnifying glass. This is just pathetic. Okay, here we go. All right. Is not a friend. That's true. That's true. Good point. But we call that person who is friends with you during the good times, but not the bad. But how is it possible that a friend could be an enemy? So like a situation with a frenemy, they pretend up front to be your friend. So they're nice and chatty and, hey, how are you doing? And then behind your back, like let's say at work, then they steal credit for things that you did perhaps. So it's really like they're kind of playing like they're your friend, but they're not really. They're more of your rival. And the person for A, a friend who is only friends with you during good times, is called a fair weather friend. Pragmatic friend. Okay, so a fair weather friend. So in good times, they're your friend. And when things are raining, when things are bad, bye-bye. So a fair weather friend, a person who is only there for you during the good times and not really, they don't really have your back. They're not there. They're not a true friend. But I thought that I would throw that in because it's kind of a nice expression as well. All right, moving on to Cambodia and friendships in Cambodia. And maybe if you can kind of keep your thoughts on like, what are friendships like in your country? I know that we had a bit of that this week as well, talking about friendships in our own countries. I don't really understand this type of friend. It's not really a friend. Let me hold on one second. Let me just pull up this next slide now that I have this here, and we can talk about it more. Maybe somebody can give me some examples of frenemies. Like maybe you have a situation that you can tell me. Somebody who acts like they acted like they were your friend, but in reality, they weren't. They turned out to not be really your friend. Maybe in sports situation, you may have a frenemy, a friend that is always in competition. Yeah, totally. Like they're competing against you and that kind of thing. I'm trying to think of some good examples, but it's really like it's a person who because sometimes you have this. I think it's a lot at work, or maybe it's like if you have a friend and they're your friend, everything, and then your boyfriend comes over and then they act like a certain way to try, like, maybe make him like them. Then they're kind of a frenemy. It's like they're your friend, they're there for you, but what is this? This also doesn't make sense. Your classmate, when calls on you, only you on exams. Yes, maybe on exam days. Your classmate that calls you only on exam days. Yeah, maybe, Omar. Maybe that's a good one too. So yeah, I think what I would like to do, I'm going to try. I can't promise, but I would like to do a little bit of a quick reel, I think, and add some examples for frenemy because it's a fun new word that explains a certain type. Yes, I understand, but I don't think it's correct. Yes. To use the word friend. Yes. It's just explaining this type of person who pretends to be a friend, but really isn't. Yes. Okay. All right, let's move to Cambodia. And here we go. What do friends in Cambodia sometimes exchange to show loyalty and unity towards their friends? Okay, what is it? Is it bracelets? So these are little things that we wear around here. The things that we wear around here are necklaces, earrings, bracelets, rings. Flowers and letters, or C, coins and gifts. What can you tell me? So what do you think that friends exchange? And I can tell you, they do this on New Year's and for festivals. And it represents protection and unity. And actually, I wanted to. Maybe you treat each other like friends only in as a facade, but during some situations you're in competition mode, really to rip each other apart. Yeah, exactly. And because there is a bit of a friendship thing going on, but you're guarded in this friendship. It's not like you can open your heart to this person, they would use it against you. So A, Kalina's going with A. We have another A, and I would like to try to find a picture. I saved one on my iPad the other day. Let me see if I still have it, because I like to share with y'all pictures, because I'm always curious about these things. And I know that if I were at home, I would want to know. And what did I do with that? Okay, I'll pull up a new one. I want a bracelet. Yeah, me too. Bracelets. Okay, so the answer is bracelets. So let me try to find a Cambodian friendship bracelet. But I thought that was sweet that they give each other gifts on New Year's. And it's like this bond and a sort of ceremony. I used to exchange bracelets when I was young. Yeah, we did that in the 80s. We used to make friendship bracelets a lot. So yeah, I had forgotten about that. Cambodian friend. And in Cambodia, if they're made out of silk, then they're really friendship bracelet. Then they are, okay, so these are a wide variety. I don't really know what's completely original here. So I will just share these, but they look very friendship bracelety. So, ooh, sorry. Can you see that? See if I can go back a little bit and it will focus. I don't know if it's going to focus. Let me see if I can send this to myself and then, yeah, let me see, pictures. I had a picture. Okay, it's not working, but it's a little woven bracelet, so you know what I mean. Okay, let's see where we're headed. We're on going to question number 7. And let's see. And my daughter used to exchange BFF bracelets, best friends forever, right? Where you could split them apart and one would wear, you know, that's clear. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Omar, for letting me off the hook. Sorry to not have that prepared, to have had that prepared. All right, so let's see. Let's move on to number 7. And I think this is a really kind of interesting question. I know I've used this fact in a quiz before, but it's interesting and it's one of these things that maybe we forget. And if not, it's still kind of cool just to think about. We live on a planet full of people, but the human brain, right, can only take so much. So we have how many meaningful relationships can humans typically maintain according to Dunbar, who I think is a scientist, Dunbar's number. So is it A, 50, B, 100, or C, 150? What do you think? So what do you think? So Carmen's saying A, 50. For me, it's like 5. So yeah, it's way lower, way, way lower. What can you tell me? A, B, or C? So Kaluna's going with A as well. 50, and I think that's too much. Yeah, for my little tiny brain, for sure. A, all right. But I have the impression that it's less than 10. Yeah, I think I do too somehow. Okay, so everyone is saying A, but according to Dunbar, I'm not sure what that is, but according to Dunbar, maybe that's even, I don't know. So I think it's a scientist. The average number or the majority of people can only handle 150, or only, that seems like a lot, 150 relationships. So that's the max. So all of these people on Facebook with 5,000 friends, an illusion. No way on earth are they friends. It's people you've sat next to in a restaurant one day and like, let's exchange Facebooks. Nobody's on Facebook anymore, or a lot not. But same thing with Instagram, maybe. But I think Instagram is something, for me, it's a little bit something between Facebook and like Pinterest somehow. Only, I know, Carmen. Big talker here. Only 150. Oh, I can't handle 5. Yes. So that's the number, maximum 150. Moving on to another little idiom that is kind of one that's used quite often. And I'm going to imagine, or I imagine that a lot of you have something similar in your own language for this idiom. So I hope this will be an easy one for all of us, because this one I think is really cool because it makes a lot of sense somehow. What does, nope, hold on. I mixed that up. We'll do this one and go back. So not that, we're here now. We'll go back and do the idiom, sorry. So what does the 7-year friendship rule suggest? Is it A, most people change best friends every 7 years? Is it B, friendships over 7 years become lifelong? Or is it C, it takes 7 years to really become a true friend? What would you say? Woo, that's a lot. I only have a few. Me too. Same here. Okay, so C, we have Omar saying C, 7 years to become a true friend. Lorena's going with A, you change best friends every 7 years. B from Kaluna and B from Karina. So the answer here is B, friendship over 7 years typically ends up being something that is a lifelong friendship. And if I think about it in my life, it kind of makes sense. Like if you are in high school, right? And then you move off to college, your friend moves off to a different university, and you somehow stay friends throughout this life-changing experience, then probably you're going to last to the next phase as well. Same thing with when one of your friends gets married and you are not married, and then you still stay friends, or they have kids, you still stay friends. When you have these big milestone things that happen in your life and they're not in sync sometimes, I think those are big tests. And if you can stand at that time, where you don't have kids, your friend does, where they're at a different university than you are, and you can kind of bridge that, then for me, you have these life sort of milestone things. It makes sense to you, Omar, as well. It does for me too, somehow. I don't know. 7 years, you can hang in there together. It's not just one phase, it's moving into the next phase. I think that's what I'm trying to say here. When you can move together into a new phase, then the chance of continuing on to new and other phases makes more sense. Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Let's move back to number 8, to my idiom that I think probably a lot of you have in your own language or something similar, maybe. Let's see if you do, or if I'm wrong. So we need this one here. And so, all right. I remember now one of my friends who is like that. Is like what? Sorry, Omar, I lost you. Yes, and I agree with B. Yeah, I think so too. All right, so let's see. How many meaningful, no, we had that. Hold on, I need number 8. Excuse me. Moving on to number 8, not number 7 again. And let's hope that this is correct. Okay, there we go. What does the saying, birds of a feather flock together, mean? Does it mean A, hold on, people with similar interest are often become friends? So people with similar interest often become friends. Does it mean B, people should always get along with everyone? You should just get along with people. Or is it C, friends should travel together? So birds of a feather flock together. What do you think? Do you have something similar in your language? I have Carmen and Kaluna and Lorena going with A. And yes. And you can also answer this if you think that this is true as well, if this is sort of something that makes sense for you, to you. Yeah. Okay. So, hey, Hitoko, darling. Hello. So, yes. So, A is the correct answer. Birds of a feather flock together, meaning birds that have the same feathers, the same type of bird, usually end up being sticking and hanging out together. Renit's going with A. Everybody's correct. Exactly. It's the people with similar interests typically they end up being around each other. And I think there's a lot of truth in this, Karina. Exactly. All right. So heading to our last question. Sorry, Hitoko. I hope you can check out the replay if you like. It will be saved right after the lesson. And let's see. So moving on to our last slide for today. And here we go. Gleich und gleich gestellt sich gern. Okay, so gleich and gleich, so like and like, gestellt sich gern. Gestellt, like get together, come together, like to come together. Okay. All right. So according to experts, what helps support good mental well-being? Is it A, having 100 social media friends? Is it B, 5 social interactions a week? So getting together with people 5 times a week. Or is it C, talking to strangers every day? Yes. So what do you think? A, B, or C? Okay, we know that A is ridiculous, right? But is that German? Yes, that's German. So Renit's saying B, 5 social interactions a week. Carmen's going with B. Kaluna's going with B. So what else? I need your daily dorky magnifier. It's hard to read the words on my phone. I couldn't type, but I was watching from the first. I will send you the Amazon link. So yes, and great use of the word dorky. It's dorky, right? It's so dorky. So, okay, everybody's saying B, which is of course true. And I would find that impossible. I would really, so like their experts recommend another one of these, according to scientists. Studies say experts recommend. Who are these experts? Anyway, these crazy experts are saying 5 social interactions per week, with 3 with close friends, and 1 hour of social time per day is good for mental well-being. I would never be able to do that. That would be so stressful. So I have decided that our interactions are part of my well-being, my social interaction with friends. So typically we have about 3 hours of lessons per week. So, that's pretty good. That's nearly 5. So that's what I'm going with, because I would never be able to do that. Would you be able to interact with friends or have some sort of social interaction 5 times a week? I think I would. Sorry, I would. There's no way on earth that. And I've made myself. Aha! This is the one I wanted. That is our quiz for today. You can let me know if you like about if that's too much. 5 times having social interaction with friends. You can let me know in the comments. For those of you who are here and having fun and enjoy the lesson, the nicest thing you can do is to like this. It really shows the algorithm that this was a good piece of work. And I know for myself, I watch so many things on YouTube, and I never and I'm like, oh, that was great. And then I go on to the next thing. But likes really matter on YouTube for them to push our content out and make our community even better, even grander, with even more cool people. I really am so grateful that we have this wonderful, that our birds of a feather flock together. I think that that fits our community very, very well. So thank you for being a wonderful, international, open-minded community where we can share together. Thank you, Carmen, for taking the earlier shift so you could come and hang with us today. This class somehow saves people's mental health. Oh, that would be nice. I hope that this is a nice place for people to join. And if it just ends up being us for the rest of time, that's also great. I really am super grateful. If it grows, it's also kind of cool. But if it stays like this, that's also fantastic. I love the people that are here. This is good. This is very good. So take care. Have a great weekend. Yes, to you too. All the best. And Natoko, if you want the Amazon link, I know you're in Japan, but maybe you can find this in Japan. I can send it to you, my little dorky magnifying glass. It's always a pleasure, my pleasure. So folks, have a lovely weekend, and I'm going to deal with being an illegal alien here in Germany. I need to figure that out so they don't kick me out of here. I want to go back to America. So, all right. Anyway, take care. Have a great day. Bye.